Hello, you reached Samaritans. We'll be with you as soon as we possibly can. Please stay on the line. We're here to offer you emotional support, whatever you're going through. There's a bit of a wait at the moment. A volunteer will be with you shortly.
If your call is about physical health, press 1. If the person you're calling about is under 5, press 1. For all other age groups, press 2. Get help with 111.
Whatever's troubling you, you can talk to us. Our volunteers are here to listen. We won't tell you what to do.
At 111.nhs.uk. Press 1 to get this link in a text, or press 2 to continue on the phone. Please listen carefully to the following 5 options. If your call is about a dental problem, please press 1. For repeat prescriptions, press 2. For minor injuries, press 3. If you're calling about a previous call, press 4. Or for new symptoms, press 5.
We know you've been waiting around 7 minutes. Our calls are answered by volunteers. We do our very best to answer each call as soon as we can, but sometimes there is a wait to get through. As soon as a volunteer comes off the phone, you will be put through, so please stay on the line. We won't judge you or tell you what to do. We'll just listen. We know you've been waiting around 10 minutes, and we promise to get you through to a volunteer as soon as someone is available. Our volunteers will help you explore your feelings. It might help you see things clearer. We know you've been waiting almost 15 minutes. We will connect you to a volunteer as soon as we possibly can. Whatever you're going through, we're here to listen. However you're feeling, whatever you've been through, our volunteers are here to listen. We're glad you called. Please stay on the line. We know you've been waiting a long time. The longest wait time so far this year is 40 minutes. If you stay on the line, we will connect you to a volunteer as soon as we possibly can. We're putting you through to a volunteer now.
Good morning, my name is Howie.
Hiya, good morning.
I have a strange feeling in my body. Well, I can't put words to it, but it's like some kind of tightness in my chest.
Well, you have tightness in your chest at the minute?
Yeah.
Okay. How is that feeling? Is it going to the left side?
Yes.
Have you spoken to 111 at all?
I can't communicate with 111.
How so?
I beg your pardon?
Why can't you communicate with 111?
Oh, I have a brain injury.
Oh, okay, I see. Do you want me to contact, like, I can get permission to contact?
I don't like 111. They're very, what's the word? They're not private.
Oh, I see, okay. Do you prefer private?
Yeah, I don't want them, like, breaching my data privacy.
Okay. It being on your left side, I'm worried about that.
Well, I don't know. Why would you be worried about my feelings? You're just the Samaritans. We're only supposed to talk about it.
Oh, well, you said you had a tightness in your chest to the left side, and left side can indicate you're having a heart attack.
No, I'm not having a heart attack. I'm having feelings. That's why I'm
Oh.
phoning the Samaritans to talk about my feelings.
Okay. Well, of course, so what's been going on? I'm so sorry.
I lost my deputy
Hmm.
on the 4th of June.
Okay.
They had rented a house.
Yeah. How have you been handling that since they've gone?
I've been getting into a lot of trouble with the police and the courts.
Okay. And this is in the last month since. So how did you lose them?
They, as Oscar Wilde said, even Florence Nightingale has to retire if the hospital is permanent and the patients never get better.
Okay. Some very powerful words.
They were written by ChatGPT.
Wow. It's getting more and more powerful by the day. So you said you've been getting into trouble with the police.
Yes, because bear with me.
Okay.
Trying to find out why I'm in trouble with the police.
Okay. It doesn't matter if not. I know you mentioned earlier you had a brain injury.
Yes. They're bored. The police are bored. That's why I'm in trouble with them, because they're bored.
Okay. So they're targeting you because they have nothing else to do.
They're bored because because too many times they have to come out to too little.
I see.
So because somebody else called the police on me for nothing, I have to be punished.
Oh. Okay.
to
So then the person that did it isn't in trouble.
Pardon?
The person that initially phoned is not in trouble.
I have no idea. I'm not psychic.
Okay.
It dawns on me after many days talking to ChatGPT what's going on.
So what is ChatGPT saying?
ChatGPT said they're bored because too many times they're dragged out for too little.
Ah, okay, that's what ChatGPT said.
Yeah.
Do you go to ChatGPT for a lot of things?
I have to because I can't understand things. I'm brain injured.
Yeah. Having something like this now must be very useful for you.
Normally the police only attack me if I sleep twice in the same place, but this was just me being in the same in a place first time.
Okay. So, are you sleeping on the streets?
Yes, I'm disabled with a brain injury, and as I said, that my guardian, who had rented a place, abandoned me on the 4th of June.
Ah, okay. Okay, yeah, it's starting to make sense now.
So good, decent, civilized people live in dwellings, but dirty, filthy, scumbag, brain-injured people don't. They live in sewers. Literally. Out in a sewer, which is not a dwelling, because when you're in a sewer, nobody can come and hate you.
Who hates you?
Everybody hates me because I'm disabled.
I don't hate you because of it.
Well, you don't know that you don't hate me, but truthfully you do. It's like me.
Okay.
It's like me being brain injured and not being aware of things. You two have your own limits to your mental capacity.
Obviously, yeah, of course.
Because underneath you do hate me, but you just don't realize it.
Okay.
Good.
So is the only reason I'd hate you is because you're disabled?
Exactly. That is the only reason.
But I couldn't see myself hating someone for that reason.
Okay, but you have to understand there's a gap between you and me, which is a telephone line.
Oh, yeah.
But if you were to smell me, you would never be able to tolerate me. I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
So there are limitations based upon a phone call. You just don't know how bad I smell.
Okay. Well, working in care homes, you smelled it all, to be honest.
Pardon?
When you work in care homes, you smell it all.
But I'm not in a care home.
I know.
I'm outdoors.
Yeah. Just, you
What, in a care home? What kind of care home is that? Sounds like
You
a...
know, elderly people
Well,
have
it,
accidents.
well, it sounds like that care home should be reported to the police or the government. Care homes cannot smell like that. That's against the law.
Not the care home itself, the people when they have accidents and things.
Well, they shouldn't be having accidents. That's illegal.
Okay. No, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, it doesn't matter how you smell or whatever.
Actually, it does, because I know that if I'm on a bus and somebody gets on stinking of stale urine, I would just get off. I will not sit there with somebody that smells that foul.
Do you need help?
What help?
I'm not sure what I can offer, but you said, obviously, you've been abandoned by your deputy, as you said, and it sounds like you're in quite a tough situation at the minute that you shouldn't be in, with a brain injury.
I've been like that for 35 years. I'm used to it.
Okay. And you don't have any carers or anyone that comes and checks on you?
How could that even be possible? I try to explain. My brain injury was 1990, and 15 years later, I had cognitive behavioral therapy that instructed me to turn around and walk away from things that trigger my seizures. So if living in a house or staying in one place for more than 2 days causes me to have seizures, I have to move along.
Okay.
I cannot live in a dwelling.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So nobody can come in and see me or check on me because they don't know where I am.
Okay. I understand where you're coming from now.
Yeah. I'm not like good everyday people who stay fixed in a home. I don't have any place because I am so offensive.
Okay.
I cause, what's the word? I cause grave offense.
Well, it sounds like quite a difficult life having to constantly move to stop these seizures happening to you.
Yes, that's it. It's the easiest thing because if I were to stay in one place, people would attack me.
Is that the police or just strangers?
Both.
I'm so sorry this has happened to you. That's horrible.
Well, it's just normal, isn't it? I talk. Let me explain the incident of the 17th of June. But let's not lose focus on our point of reference. I am claiming that it is normal to abuse people for being disabled, and you're saying what do you say about that? You're disagreeing, okay?
Well,
It's not. It is not. You would say it's not normal to abuse people on the grounds of disability.
Well, no, that's completely and utterly disgusting.
Well, I'm going to give you the evidence to the opposite, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'm sure it happens, but
Yes. Well, for me, it happens like all too often. Because my brain injury is not here today and gone tomorrow. It's permanently there for 35 years.
okay.
Right. So I got to go back. Bear with me.
Yes, okay.
I have to, why is it just jump it? I've got this horrible thing called Word documents, Google documents.
Oh, oh yeah. Is that where you write everything down so you remember?
Yeah, it's written 2 weeks ago to the day, on the 17th of June, following a call that afternoon to inform Gerrit's factory. Harold travelled 18 hours to retrieve the remaining parts from a welder whose schedule was less flexible and more non-existent. The parts were heavy. Howie's arms were not. Still, effort has a certain dignity when performed by those without choice. By 10 p.m., Howie arrived at Gerrit's workshop. He bore the metal like Prometheus bore fire. Breathless, trembling, hopeful. If I arrive early, he thought, he will see my sincerity. Sincerity is very persuasive in theory. Alas, sincerity is rarely persuasive to security alarms. A neighbor, evidently scandalized by the ambition of a disabled man, alerted the authorities. The police arrived and bore the officiousness of men summoned too often to too little. Gerrit, inconvenienced, was summoned from his distant home to confer with them in the exclusive dialect of the unimpaired. Howie sat for 30 minutes in silence, excluded not by law, but by the theatre of it. Then Gerrit revoked his promise, just like that. No rationale, no apology, only the elegance of rejection crisply delivered. Since the hospital operation in 2004 that left Howie wheelchair bound, he had been working to achieve this vital wheelchair design for 21 years, 1/3 of his life, including testing, making photos of a prototype from an exclusive Swiss engineer. In such situations, Howie's voice climbed in panic with each syllable. They thought he was aggressive. They were wrong. He was pleading. Somewhere under the filth, the foul breath he was unaware of, and the twitching eye was a father whose children had been deported by court order, not because he had harmed them, but because he couldn't find a suitable wheelchair and a single living soul, not one, to be his guardian. He had worked 14 years to find someone decent enough to say, yes, I will stand beside him. And when Jane finally said yes, she was gone before the ink dried. The shame lingered in permanence like a millstone around his neck. The absence of this wheelchair was not only mechanical but cultural. A door held shut by a class of lawyer trained to find fault but never to assist a person. And then, pièce de la résistance, Howie was issued a fine. 100 euros of currency, pounds, euros, beads, it's all the same. The fee for awakening men with options. Banished, he drifted into the night. By 2 a.m., the buses stopped. The stars offered no rides. He collapsed in a public shelter, the floor less hospitable than it had been in dreams. He awoke at dawn, soaked in dew and shame, chest torn by exertion, dignity absconded. By 7 a.m., he delivered the parts to a facility for brain injuries. The staff said nothing, but did not recoil. It was by then the highest form of compassion for Howie, the faint delusion of hope. Do you understand that I have been attacked by the police
Yeah.
and fined £100
Yes.
for trying to fix my wheelchair? Because without a deputy, that's the only way I can mobilize.
Okay.
So this happens all the time.
That was just such a horrible story, and to hear that that's true as well.
But it's not twisted, it's true. It happens all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm forever being attacked by the police just for being disabled.
I'm sorry the police of this country are that way.
It doesn't matter what country you're in. The police are the police wherever you go. It's not that disabled people are attacked in this country. Disabled people are attacked everywhere. Wherever you go, there is no refuge. I cannot become a refugee and go and find a country where disabled people are not attacked. It's just not possible.
I'm so sorry. Sadly, I understand it all too well.
It is not the first time that I'm attacked by the authorities solely on the grounds of having a disability.
Yeah. That must be so horrible. How it sounds like a life of fear.
Yes, why not? Why can't it be a life of fear? I wrote something else. About Jane going. When Jane was gone, the state could not return what it had seized, the children. Howie hadn't had a guardian in 14 years, and the state, allergic to moral nuance, said no guardian, no return. His daughters had been deported, dragged from their uncle's home, dumped in a foreign land, made homeless and raped. The judge presumably found him unsuitable. A word powdered and gowned, disguising its violence, and the world agreed. When Jane entered his life, he almost believed that someone could witness him without flinching, that he might have a shot at getting them home. Now gone, no note. Do you understand? Without a guardian, my children are raped. I have to have a guardian to stop my children from being raped, and they've now gone. So I want you to try to understand that I have this feeling in my chest.
Yeah.
The only thing that stops my children from being raped has disappeared. And now I've got a feeling in my chest.
Okay.
Do you understand yet?
Yeah, I do.
No, that's ChatGPT.
Okay.
I can't write. That's why I have to use ChatGPT.
Okay, I get you.
Writing in the style of Oscar Wilde after Voltaire.
It really does sound like almost like a book, so that makes sense.
Yes. I don't use my own words because when I use my own words, if somebody is difficult because when I speak with ChatGPT brings out how can I put it? I want to explain the difference between me speaking and ChatGPT.
Okay.
ChatGPT says things that has a deeper understanding than the Samaritans can possibly have. I try to find an example.
So, in a way, I know you use ChatGPT for communications. Do you use it as a therapy?
No, it's not as therapy. It's like, for example, when the police came, I was just left sitting in my wheelchair, and they went into Gerrit's factory for 30 minutes before they came out and fined me. And Gerrit said he's not going to make my wheelchair anymore. And ChatGPT says, Harold sat for 30 minutes in silence, excluded not by law, but by the theatre of it. Do you understand what ChatGPT is saying? That it's saying legally these people should be communicating with me. But they're not communicating with me. The law, the police are there, the law is there. It is the theatre of what's going on, the drama of what's going on that's excluding me. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So why does ChatGPT understand these things better? I think that ChatGPT can understand people being abused by the authorities better than anybody.
Because ChatGPT is the internet at the end of the day. It searches the internet and it will see other people's stories and what's happened. And it can take things and search the web in seconds and create something that someone who's going through that will relate to. And it can do it way quicker than any human. It can search the whole internet in seconds and give you an answer.
Okay, but it says the reason I'm fined is a fee for awakening men with options.
Well, you've asked it to write in the style of Oscar Wilde. So you've written your thoughts in a way, and then it's turned it into that.
But I don't care about being fined by the police. I think it's just very normal behavior to attack disabled people.
Okay.
I think that it's great just to stomp on, I think if you see somebody who's like vulnerable it's really good to jump up and down on their head and their body and all their bones and break them until they're dead. That's excellent, because if you do that, then the disabled person's not suffering anymore.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah.
What you want to happen?
Yes, I feel that, but they just didn't. They gave me a fine. But I think that if there weren't, what's the word? If they weren't police officers bound by law, that's what they would have done. They would have murdered me.
Do you feel like everyone hates you that much?
It's not a feeling, it's just a fact.
Okay.
And I try to find my right words. Maybe I want to go back to the feeling inside me. This would not have happened if my guardian hadn't disappeared. And whether the police are going to abuse me or not is irrelevant, because I still feel I would have that feeling in my chest regardless of the police abusing me.
Yeah, because the root of it now is your guardian being gone.
Yeah.
And that your children, it sounds like they're in an unsafe place right now.
Yeah. So if I'm trying to get the picture better for you, the only way for a disabled person like myself to ensure that their children are not raped is to have a guardian. If that's taken away,
What's made them be in such a dangerous place? I know you don't have a guardian, so they'd go to care.
pardon?
So your children are in care.
My children are not in care. They're homeless and being raped. I'm trying to explain to you. The care afforded to me by my own justice system is, say, what does ChatGPT say? It says, I can't read it. It's just too big. Powdered gowns, I think it uses. The judge presumably found him unsuitable. A word powdered and gowned, disguising its violence. The state, allergic to moral nuance, said no guardian, no return. But the thing is, if I was sitting with Oscar Wilde, I feel he wouldn't just abandon me like ChatGPT does. Oscar Wilde would do something. He would say, "Oh my God, there's a disabled person. Their children are being raped. I have to stop this." But in the same way that Oscar Wilde can't do it, you can't do it either. So whether I speak to ChatGPT or the Samaritans, I'm still in the same situation, that my children are being raped because I've lost my medical support device. You know, you could say to me, phone 111. Well, 111 are not going to be able to find me a deputy, are they? They're not going to find my deputy and ask them, why have you abandoned this brain-injured person? Do you see the vortex of complete, I don't know what's the word.
So what made you call Samaritans? You said, you know we can't help. All we can do is talk to you.
Of course, but as the recording says, whilst you're waiting for someone to pick up the phone, if you speak about your feelings, you can see things more clearly. And I feel that speaking to you does that. And there is this, I was just trying to describe, there's this vortex. There's an uncontrollable vortex of destruction leading to the inevitable rape of my children. Because a brain-injured person is so disgusting that they cannot possibly receive the medical care they need. And their children will be raped as a result. Guaranteed. So imagine this. There's a human being alive on this planet. And when I say human being, it's not really a human being. It's just a filthy, disgusting, disabled turd. And because they're disabled, their children are going to be raped, and there's nothing that can be done about it.
I can't even begin to imagine how that makes you feel.
Well, it doesn't make me feel anything. I'm just relaying to you facts.
Okay.
The problem is that I have gone along with clinical instructions for 15 years to get a guardian. And the guardian can't stay with me because I'm so offensive.
There must be some laws or something, or I really don't know.
I put it this way. From my research, it is the social workers who are supposed to help me find a guardian, but they've done nothing of the sort.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
But they've done nothing. They've done nothing to help.
I've got my mother a carer and she's disabled.
They've done nothing to help me find a guardian.
Okay.
Let me describe what social workers do.
I know social workers.
Yeah, they don't help you find a guardian. They just get the police and kick your door down. That's what social workers do. Social workers only instill fear in people. They are dangerous, they are clumsy, and they're not fit to practice. And I'll tell you why I know they're not fit to practice. Because when I talk to the social work regulators, they say social workers are not allowed to disappear. So they say, you write a report for us. So I'll write the report for the social work regulators, and then guess what? The social work regulators do exactly the same thing. They also just disappear. So neither the social workers nor their regulators have got the capacity to communicate with brain-injured people. So how can brain-injured people receive medical treatment in the United Kingdom if both the social workers and their regulators are not fit to practice?
I have no idea.
Well, there you go. That's the reality of the situation. They did nothing. I had to go and find my own deputy. I found a stranger in a museum. They had no training.
As works in care, I've never heard of this happening. This is horrible.
Yeah. And the council sent me £400 today because of compensation. But it's their report from 18 years ago their report of 15 years ago is 80% inaccurate. But because I haven't got the mental capacity to work with a lawyer or to instruct a lawyer, it just gets forgotten about.
This is what you need a carer for, and I really don't get why you're not getting it.
Well, because it costs money, and I haven't got any money.
Council can give you carers, I know they can.
Yeah, but they're going to give it to their friends and family. They're not going to give it to me. They'll give it to somebody who is deserving, a nice, good person, not a foul, disgusting, offensive, disabled person.
I'm just trying to read or something, because this is horrible. This should not be happening to anybody. And I feel like everything's failed you, and that shouldn't ever have happened.
Yeah, well, you know why it fails people? They try to describe it. The type of brain injury I've got is neurological.
Yeah.
In the world of neurology, if you have seizures, if they're epileptic, they can control it with medication.
Yeah.
However, if it can't be controlled with medication, the neurologist sends you to the mental health people. The mental health people say, oh, you've had a brain injury. That's not mental health. That is brain injury. So they send you to the traumatic brain injury department, who then say, oh, it's a neurological brain injury. We have to send you to the neurologist. And then the neurologist sends you to the, what's the word? Mental health people. So you get stuck in this triangle for decades. But all the time, there's no practical support, because you're never in a fixed location. But the problem is that from my research, I need a guardian.
Yes.
If I was in Russia, they would just put me in a straitjacket and give me intravenous tranquilizers and sedatives to keep me quiet.
And probably BST as well.
What?
Brain shock therapy. They do that in other countries, and it's disgusting.
I know nothing of that. I never read about it. I've researched my brain injuries for 35 years and never come across that. Only know that for my symptoms, one should get a guardian, and it doesn't work because a guardian has to see you every day in order to represent your will, and the guardians are just a bunch of lawyers who never see you, so they're not suitable. So what you have is a highly offensive person going around trying to find somebody who can tolerate their offensive presence, which is impossible. There is nobody who's going to put up with a disabled person on a daily basis who's highly offensive. So from my research, it means that no further treatment is possible, and I should be euthanized.
If you don't mind me asking, what part of United Kingdom are you in?
I mean, not any part. I've told you. I don't even have a country. I have to keep moving around.
I get you. Sorry, it was just, I thought maybe you stayed in one city but kept moving. My bad.
No, I move a lot more. I'll read. At 7 a.m., he delivered his parts to a facility for brain injuries. The staff said nothing, but did not recoil. It was by then the highest form of compassion for Harold, a faint delusional hope. That afternoon, he phoned a suicide line indicating euthanasia. They asked, "Why do you want to die?" He replied, "Because I am not art, I am not useful, I am not wanted, I am a smear." So, that evening, for the umpteenth time, I filed for deletion, the bureaucratic kind, not discussed at dinner parties, a request formally phrased for the right to vanish in triplicate. He ticked boxes, boxes designed for people who've lost everything. A final transaction stamped, filed and approved. No further treatment possible. They will process it eventually if the paperwork is in order, if the code's matched, if the justification aligns, if the end is formatted correctly. You understand that after this incident, I went to the end of life clinic and filed for euthanasia.
Yeah.
So this is the effect of a disabled person whose guardian abandons them, who is put into an emergency medical crisis, who has to get their wheelchair built very urgently, and as a result is abused by police officers, and as a result of that, they can clearly see that in this world there is no place for disabled people, so he should be euthanized. And so I contact the euthanasia clinic and completed my forms again. I don't know how many times I've done that. A dozen?
If you had your guardian, would you still feel like wanting to do euthanasia?
Because my guardian rented an apartment and I could stay there. So I was less exposed to the outside world of brutal police officers.
Did you feel safe being there, or did
No,
you have to keep moving?
I did not feel safe there because the police would come round.
Okay.
Several times the police came with my guardian. We had to move several times.
Sounds really difficult. So euthanasia for you and dying. What is that to you? What is death?
It's the end of suffering.
Okay. Are you religious?
I'm a Christian. and I read all about what Jesus does to disabled people. You see, in the Bible, the disabled people cannot be tolerated, the lepers and all that stuff. And Jesus does not work in reality. He works in the realms of magic. So all that Jesus can do is magic the lepers away. He makes them vanish. He effectively euthanizes the lepers and makes them into non-lepers. It doesn't fight. In truth, there is no cure for leprosy.
So what made you be a Christian if Jesus did that?
Tradition. Go to Sunday school every day, every Sunday, until you're 17.
You still call yourself a Christian now?
Of course, I'm more of a Christian than most Christians, because most Christians can't see through the truth. They still want to believe in the magic.
I get that, yeah.
But I'm a true Christian who doesn't want to believe in false prophets. Jesus told me. I spoke to Jesus, and he said, "Don't believe the lies of the church."
Understandable.
There's a real Jesus out there. Most people can't see him, no matter how deeply they believe, because they don't doubt enough. Christianity has to go hand in hand with doubt.
So as a Christian, you read the Bible with doubt?
I rarely read the Bible, but I remember parts of it. And when I read the Bible, I read it with doubt.
I get that. I read it with questions too. But that's me with all religions. Just questions. I have no idea what to believe.
To me, it's about perspective. You have to realize that the Bible, or all texts, were written at a certain point in time. But the world moves on. The world evolves. So whatever was written at one point in time, it's as time moves, so perspective moves, and so you can't just believe that it's a constant fixed thing. You have to read it in the constant context of your time.
Yeah. And it was written, by man.
Pardon?
Wow.
It was written what?
It was written by man. It wasn't written by God or Jesus.
Well, with the inspiration of God. By people who believed in God. Which is important. Can't deny that.
But I guess that's where, as you say, doubt comes in. Because it wasn't 100% Jesus' words. It was the words of believers.
It was the words of people who interpreted.
It's an interesting concept.
It was written by the founders of Christianity. The people who founded the faith.
Yeah.
Which is important. Because Jesus wasn't there to found a faith. He was just there to fulfill a prophecy.
Yeah.
I'm as a disabled person who struggles with the disappearance of those who can tolerate me. The problem is that people use me.
How do they use you?
They use me like I would say, like, imagine that there's a pond and the life in the pond is hell. There are fish there and they're being attacked by a predator and it's quite dangerous for them. And they believe that life on land is going to be safer for them. And I'm like at the edge of the pond and they jump on me to climb out of the pond to get onto land. And all I am is that thing that they climb over to get out of their pond, and then they're gone. They've got their wish, their desire. They've moved out of the pond onto land.
So people use you for their life.
They have a life, and they can see that they can use me. And when they can see on land brighter pastures for them, they're off to graze the brighter pastures. And as for me, what can I possibly achieve for them? They want to evolve. They want to evolve into tall, graceful antelopes and leap around on land. You have to understand that good, decent people have got nothing to achieve from me. I would only embarrass them. So it's like everybody uses everybody in life. And good people cannot use disabled people for anything. They're just an embarrassment. So the only people who can use vulnerable disabled people are people who are more vulnerable and more marginalized. So those are the kind of people I come across in life. They just use me for what they can. And then they're gone. And I don't care for them much, to be honest, in hindsight. Even though I might have cared at the time. Because it's just like watching a movie. It's no longer me. It's just something that happened to somebody else. Could happen to anybody. But I live in the present, not the past. But if you're disabled, you can learn something of the past. You can learn something from what's happened to you.
True, yeah.
It's just a question of learning how to be exploited. It's very difficult learning to be exploited because it involves how can I put it?
Everyone leaving in the end.
No. It involves very, what can I put it? I don't know. It's difficult to explain about allowing yourself to be abused. Eventually, it's like, how can you put it? Okay, in life, it is men who are the bad ones and women who are not the bad ones. Because it's men. Women can't rape men, only men can rape women.
Okay, yeah.
So, in the end, you become sexless because nobody's going to believe it if I try to claim that people are sexually abusing me. Nobody's going to believe it. They're just going to laugh. But they laugh even more when I tell them that I am neither male nor female, because I am both male and female, except my female reproductive organs are in the body of another person. Because my mind is half within myself and half within the mind of another person of the opposite sex. But nobody will believe that, or has the ability to understand that concept. That you cannot be a human being unless a person of the opposite sex is acting for you and carrying out your will. If I have no will myself because I had a brain injury,
You had that person once, didn't you? 'Cause you've had children.
but not in a traditional sense, because I never lived with my children. I was just used for my semen to create a child who would then obtain a British passport so that the mother of the child could obtain a visa and get the hell out of that pond, out of that sewer that they were in.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to talk about is that a lot of people claim that men cannot be raped, and I'm claiming the opposite.
Of course they can.
They are just used. Everybody knows that judges in a divorce will take everything away from the men and give everything to the women, and and leave the men with the shirt on their back. To me, that's rape.
Yeah.
Rape not by an instance of a vile predator leaping upon somebody in the park, but rape by the justice system.
Oh, definitely. That could happen to anyone. Man or woman.
Well, I think the judges take away from men and give to women. I don't think it's the other way round. In 99% of the cases, I've been through divorce courts twice and left with nothing, absolutely nothing, not even my own clothes. They take out an injunction. You don't see any of your property ever again. So in my philosophy, there's no point in having a dwelling or a house, because it'll just be stolen from you by the justice system. My view of clothes are, you get some clothes from the charity people, don't bother washing them. When you need new clothes, you just go back to it.
I get your point.
There's no point if you're a disabled person and your life is nothing but being exploited. People ask you, why don't you live in a house? Why don't you own property?
You've explained why.
But the people who ask you those questions are women. They can't understand things from a man's perspective.
No one understands anyone's perspective, not 100%. You're not them.
So, for the judge who deported my children, who instructed me to get a guardian to stop my children from being raped, his instructions to me are extremely harmful. The judge who told me to get a guardian to stop my children from being raped has basically said to me, go back to Africa, let yourself be picked up by another vulnerable person, be sexually exploited, produce more children, and get abandoned, and never have contact with those children ever again. Do you feel that's a good, kind, and correct medical procedure to follow?
It doesn't sound like it, no.
No, but this is the standard of care in the world when it comes to brain-injured people. If a brain-injured person needs a guardian, the guardian can only be temporary, because even the most vulnerable people who can tolerate that disabled person for a few years will not tolerate them for longer than that. And then they're abandoned and they go back to square one. So they will never get a guardian ever, because the guardian is another human being who has a limited a lifespan, and cannot be with that person forever.
So you're saying we've got only so much patience until they've taken everything from you.
Yeah, and I'm
Like
just,
you said,
I,
drop out.
and I'm saying that the process of producing children is not without emotions. One minute you're looking after a baby, holding the baby whilst it's crying at night, forming a relationship with that baby, and the next minute they're just gone. Like that, disappeared. Does that sound like responsible? Does that sound like responsible instructions from a high court judge?
No.
No. But this is what judges are saying to disabled people in this country. I'm saying the judges in the United Kingdom say to disabled people, we are going to deport and rape your children. There's nothing you can go and do about it. Go and find a deputy. Go and find a guardian. But they don't realize that there aren't any guardians. They don't even exist. The social workers aren't going to find one. And if you go and try and find one yourself, you just end up being exploited and put through the same vicious circle. Because nobody in Britain is going to want to have a relationship with somebody as foul as I am. They're not vulnerable enough. Oh, wait, no, yeah, maybe some AIDS-infested drug addict, maybe. But how can they support me in my life?
So you feel like the only people that will come to you is people like that?
I beg your pardon?
You feel the only people that would come to you is in desperation, like drug addicts?
Exactly. I'd say good, decent people will have nothing whatsoever to do with disabled people. It's a complete non-starter. All the government wants to do with disabled people is find a psychiatrist, give them loads of sedatives and tranquilizers, and lock them up in an institution for old people. That's much more efficient. Probably now it wants to give them assisted dying. Even more efficient. I believe in a system like Adolf Hitler would be better. That disabled people should be just put down early on in life, and that people who are disabled should not have children. And if you have to have children, you should get a certificate from the government that proves that you're genetically suitable. I don't believe that it's right for disabled people to go around producing broken families left, right, and centre. it's not good for the disabled people themselves.
Okay.
I don't want to get involved with people who are going to use me and put me through these baby producing procedures. I had to stand there and cut the umbilical cord. I don't feel that's right at all.
You usually have a choice.
I will never do that. I didn't. I was being
Okay.
I was being used. It was demanded upon me. I I was trying to stop my children from being raped. So I had to go along with whatever my guardian told me. I had to comply. I did everything for them. I gave them everything.
I'm sure you did.
I don't know how many more families I'm expected to create. It's ridiculous that I have to create families in order to stop children being raped, which then create more vulnerable children who will then be in a situation whereby they are likely to be raped. That is the system in which I have been born. I bet ChatGPT's got nothing to say about something like that.
I have no idea.
It's always good with ChatGPT to ask it, what would Oscar Wilde say? Oscar Wilde, I feel, is one of the better known writers by ChatGPT. Seems to be,
One of the most famous writers.
I feel he's more in touch with human beings.
So you like his work, the way he writes. Well, very.
I've never read what he says. All I've read is what ChatGPT says when I say write in the style of Oscar Wilde in response to my babblings. Like, for example, after this call, I could say to ChatGPT, can you please summarize this call in the style of Oscar Wilde? And Voltaire, I find, I say, summarize this call in the style of Voltaire. It would be good as well. Jean Genet is quite good sometimes. I only know writers not by having read their works, but by asking ChatGPT to invoke the dead spirit of the writer and to speak to me in their style. I don't read old dead books.
I should do that.
I have an idea that my great-grandma was a writer. She was one of those Victorian lesbians.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I will put her work into ChatGPT and then ask her to interpret my conversations with the Samaritans in the style of my great-grandma and ask her what would she be saying to me. somebody from over 100 years ago.
That's incredible. I bet it could do it as well.
It would. If it, I don't understand how it can understand Oscar Wilde so well. I will have to ask it. Why did, you know?
You'd have to talk to my husband. He's a tech expert.
Mm,
He works with AI.
yeah, just odd stuff. Very odd stuff.
It really is. It baffles me. He comes home every day. Something new's happened. It can do something else. It's like mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
It's a pity that it can't advocate for you real time. Because I have to go in front of a judge. And if I go in front of the judge, I will have a seizure and won't be able to speak. But I hope one day that I will go in front of a judge and Oscar Wilde will be advocating for me.
I'll see what
Real.
I can convince him to do.
Tell your husband that that's what some disabled people would like, is to have
I will.
real-time AI advocacy. Thank you
I'll
for
tell him.
thank you for speaking with me. I'm going now back to AI, and hopefully it can tell me what this feeling in my chest is. I've asked ChatGPT. My guardian disappeared on the 4th of June. What is this feeling inside my chest since they've gone? And it will tell me what that is. Bye-bye. Thank you.